Hi, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of As the Walker Turns. And today I am very happy to introduce you all to Klint Burningham. And Klint is one of our executive directors, and we've worked together for over 4 years, I think now, Klint. Over four
Four
years
and a
now?
half now.
Oh, 4.5. Okay, all right, time flies. So Klint, thank you and welcome.
Thank
Talk,
you.
yeah, talk to me about how you ended up being an executive director. What led you to this type of work?
Yeah, absolutely. When I started thinking about this, really, it really started at a young age. I used to love being able to serve seniors just in the local neighborhood, whether it was something as simple as mowing their lawn, sitting and visiting with them and hearing their stories, all the way up to having a grandfather who passed away from Alzheimer's disease, and then living with my grandmother until she passed away and was actually there until she had her last breath. I had a good friend of mine just regularly putting a little bug in my ear, working in a hotel for 10 years. He kept saying, it's just like working in a hotel with a little bit of clinical piece added to it. So I think
Oh,
from that,
sprinkle.
having that little bug in my ear for 5 years, finally I was like, okay, I'm going to go take a look at an assisted living and just see what it's like. And I walked into the first building and just fell in love from that day.
Hmm, how wonderful. How long have you been in the industry now in total?
Nearly 10 years now.
Oh boy. Wow. Okay, that's kind of a big milestone when you've made it a decade.
It feels like it. It's soon to be my longest career so far.
Wow, that's wonderful. Talk to me about a day in the life as an executive director. And we are, for the record, recording on a Monday midday, so chaos. I would say chaos on a Monday. But what does your day typically look like? So people who may be looking at a community, whether it's a resident or a potential family member, I mean, I can't imagine you're just sitting at your desk, watching YouTube videos all day. Or maybe you are, I don't know.
I would say for me, I always come in with a plan, right? And really, I've learned after almost 10 years of doing this, most of the time, I'm not going to be able to complete that plan
Right.
on an everyday. You have to be flexible. You have to change on a dime. It could be anything from, I start out with my morning meeting, following up from things that happened either over the weekend or over the last 24 hours. That morning meeting really kind of helps me determine what my day is really going to look like. I will go through emails and just follow up, making sure that I followed up with all the families. There's always that one email that I might have missed, and I feel terrible. This family's going to be so mad. Um, Better late than never, though, they always say. Then I
Mhm.
have my 2 minute rule. If I can get it done in 2 minutes, I'm just going to do it right now so I don't have
Yeah,
to worry about it anymore. Because if
right.
not, that list's going to just continue to grow. But really, spending time with families, spending time with residents, spending time with my team, just really spending that time out in the community so I know what is going on, whether it's just walking through the dining room for 15, 20 minutes, just talking to the residents, seeing how their weekend was, seeing if they went out with family. So really just every day is a little bit different. Sometimes it's putting out fires, whether there was a big flood over the weekend or the fire alarm going off and you got to deal with all the angry residents. Maybe they had a bad meal over the weekend. So it changes on a dime and you just got to roll with it and do your best with what you've got at the moment.
So kind of it's like a three-ring circus, right? And everyone is wanting your attention and your priorities. So you're just trying to have to, do the best you can with I don't know, 150 people's expectations,
It's
all wanting to be number one.
You're exactly right. And you have to pivot very frequently. My
Yes.
mom always used to say, like, I thought you'd be so bored working in senior living. Now that she knows a little bit more about it, they've actually had friends living in the community, and they visited more. They see that there's never a dull moment working in
No.
assisted living.
No, no. And even when there is a dull moment, you're kind of like waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's like, well, okay, what's happening?
Should I be worried? Why is
Yeah,
nobody
yeah,
banging on my
exactly. Is
door?
everyone accounted for?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Well, it sounds like a lot of your day is interacting with whether it's staff, residents, vendors, family members. And that's a lot of humans, right? And a lot of human emotion that you're dealing with on a daily basis. maybe residents that are just moving in for the first time to residents who may be, actively passing away. And that is certainly a big stretch of one person's own, emotional, I guess, I don't know, capacity on any given day. So talk to me about how important it is from you sitting, as the leader of a community to have relationships and how those interactions are best met with you as the leader of the building.
Absolutely. Just thinking about it gave me chills a little bit. When you have it's one of those things. You can be walking down the hallway and you're there with a new family. They're kind of excited, they're kind of nervous, they're having all these emotions. And then you may 5 minutes later be walking down the hallway and you run into a family member that their loved one just passed away.
Yeah,
So it is again that pivoting moment where you have to really step back and think, okay, I need to change my emotions to kind of match who I'm currently speaking to.
right.
For me, people frequently ask me, how do you do it having people pass away all the time? And I just share with them, similar to like your personal life and personal relationships, there's always going to be those residents that you do develop a much closer relationship that are going to affect you more so than others.
Hmm.
Typically it is the more difficult families that you build a really really close relationship, but it's also those ones that you get really really close to because you spend more time with them as well. And that's always adjusting. Hey, do we have a concern that we need to address, that we need to work through? So for me, relationships are always the most important thing for me. Um, when I'm walking through the building, if there's somebody walking through the building I don't know, I'm always just say, hey, I'm not sure if we've had the opportunity to meet yet. I'm Klint Burningham. I'm the executive director. Who are you here visiting today?
Hmm.
It really just gives me that opportunity to say, oh, we've spoken on the phone multiple times.
Hmm.
It's so nice to meet you in person, to be able to again build that stronger connection.
Which is
um,
great.
I, I love to know every single person that's in this building, whether it be a vendor, whether it be a home health, hospice, whoever it may be, family members visiting from out of state that I haven't had the opportunity to meet yet, maybe even a year down the road after their loved one has moved in and I'm just meeting them for the first time. So it's just really really important for me to just have that continual open relationship with the residents and their families.
That's great. So let's talk about those that, as me as an example, right? I'm the out of town daughter who, likes to think she knows everything, when clearly I don't. So how do you handle family members like me when we're trying to, maybe feel a little bit isolated? I'm not able to see my mom every day. I think I've shared before, I'm the oldest of five kids. There's a lot of moving parts and grandchildren and all that kind of stuff. So how have you found it to be successful to work with, family members like me that, may have concerns, but are relying on, second, third hand information, or maybe my mom is telling me things I don't know if it's true or not. So, what's the best way for me to be able to have a successful conversation with an executive director?
Absolutely. I think for me, it is setting realistic expectations. So I'll usually start with a phone call if they're not here in person, just to say, hey, this is what we can do. Would you like me to have a weekly update call till we make sure that everything's going smoothly? Or do you need a monthly call? So I kind of get a feel for them and what their expectations are, and then
Mhm.
kind of set those clear boundaries. Hey, let's just have a weekly call for a month, see how we're feeling after that month, and then we can go whatever length of time is going to work best for you. We have a lot of different tools like Life Loop where they can see pictures of their loved ones doing things, spending activities. We always hear, well, my mom says she's not going to anything. She's so bored. But
Right.
then they go and look at Life Loop. Well, these are all things that she checked in, and we actually have photos of those of their loved ones. So they're able to have not just a communication where it's kind of he said, she said. They're able to see actual photos of what their loved ones are doing on a day-to-day basis. And then if there's more things to follow up on, then I just make checklists of things that I'm working on with that resident. And then I'll work with the clinical team or activities team or dining team, whatever is the big hot buttons for that family member to make sure we're having that continual follow up.
Okay. So let me give you a couple scenarios. Let's say I'm going to just say and I'm not doing this for the record, but let's just say I'm a very guilt-ridden daughter, and we know we've got a camera in my mom's room, and I spend all day looking at this camera. And that is going to spawn, I don't know, 5 emails a day and a phone call and a text message to you. How would you handle a daughter or a son or whoever that is, I don't know, maybe managing through those tools?
We've had many, I call them helicopter families.
Hmm.
Um, they're just kind of hovering. It is one of those things. I even have family members of my own who, want to have control from a distance. And it's a lot of the times, again, just having that conversation and setting those clear boundaries again. Hey, this is what we're capable of doing. If this isn't what you're okay with, then this may not be the right place for you. That's going to be the last conversation I have with them. So again, hey, we can have this conversation weekly, whatever it may be. You can make notes of what your concerns are so we can address those weekly. Um, but really does take that boundary setting and setting those very, very clear expectations of what we can and cannot do in assisted living, just to make sure they're not getting frustrated of things that they're thinking that we're doing and vice versa. You've got to get expectations on the same page. And again, cameras can be really, really great in our industry, but we're not always sure what the whole goal is of having those cameras. If they don't trust us, if they're never going to trust us, again, it may not be the right place. We've got to do something that we can build that trust. Most of the time, it's again that guilt ridden feeling that a lot of family members have. So it's their way of, hey, this is how I can be a part and help contribute to the care of my loved ones. Um, and then just making sure that they know, hey, we're here to collaborate and do the best that we can to care for your loved ones. So let's make sure we're on that same page, going in the right direction.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, and we've talked about that on a previous episode where, we're talking about assuming best intentions, and again, as an example, if there's like a 2 hour window to give someone a medication, let's just say my mom's med is due at 9 a.m. and they walked in at 9:01. That should not be an immediate like, 5 alarm fire. My mom's med was late by 1 minute. Like, look, I would say it reaches your desk when we have a pattern and it's like a serious issue or something like that. Like again, assuming best intent, you don't know if that caregiver was, you know, picking someone off the floor. Maybe somebody was passing away and they were sitting bedside. So, again, setting expectations that these are humans dealing with humans, and there needs to be some flexibility and some grace given, knowing that it's a very active, anything could happen at any moment kind of environment.
Yeah, absolutely. The
Great.
most important thing is just making sure you have those conversations. I
Yeah.
think people get really scared by those conversations. So if you just don't take it head on and just say, hey, this is the conversation we need to have, I think that's where things get really, really difficult and people get more and more frustrated to their boiling point.
Yeah, and I think that even though that might be a difficult conversation to have with people, for the community to be able to say, like, look, we can do these things, but if your expectation is these things, we're either going to be able to do it or not do it. And it's my advice, and I think Clint, maybe you're saying the same thing, is that don't overpromise, right? Like don't say that someone's going to sit bedside 24/7 and, do all those things if you don't have the staffing, or, the family may not have the resources to provide that. So just knowing what you can expect and what the boundaries of that looks like, I think will make everyone feel a little bit more at peace, because there's a lot of trust that goes into putting your loved one in the hands of someone else. And we're experiencing that too. And no, is everything perfect? Of course not. Is my mom a huge contributor to these issues? 100%. So we're
Mm-hmm.
we're just trying to like, and my mom's been up here for the last several days visiting for 4th of July, and I'm just like looking around and I'm like, God bless these caregivers. Like I can't. Oh my
Sometimes I wish they
gosh.
could just say that we're going to send your mom home with you for a week and then you can bring her back and see how it is.
Yeah. I was teasing Clint this morning. I was showing him pictures of my mom has been packing. At least she's willing to go back to the community. So that is what she's calling home. So I was like super, super grateful that we're not having a problem with putting her back on the plane. But her suitcase this morning is a cow rug and a spoon and a golf ball and a cowboy hat and picture of a temple. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't know what's gonna end up going on with her, but it seemed important today.
In
Um,
an emergency, that's what she's going to take home with her.
a spoon and a golf ball will go a long way, I guess. I don't know. So, so Clint, I know it's almost a decade in the industry. You've probably seen some strange or funny things in your career. Is there any particular story that comes to mind?
Well, when I think about that, I mean, there's so many things. One of my favorite things, I had a resident in my memory care that every day I would walk in and she'd say, "Hey, good looking. How are you doing?" And I'd say, "I'm doing really well. How are you?" And she'd say, "I'm just so damn bored. I've just been coloring all day."
No.
So she's coloring, she's at this coloring table all day, every day. And she would say, "You married?" And I'd say, "No." She's like, "Why not? Good looking guy like you." And I would always say, "Just lucky, I guess." And we would have this moment every single day and we would just both bust up laughing.
So she liked the answer every day. It was the right one.
She loved that answer every single day.
Oh, that's residents are so witty, I tell you. They've got, 80, 90 years of experience. They feel like they've heard it all. And man, they've got some good one-liners, let me tell you.
I mean, there are so many different examples of just crazy things that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, and trying to define what an emergency is by everybody's definition. I
Hmm.
remember getting called on Easter Sunday that there was a waterfall coming out of the ceiling. And I come in and there's a drip. Oh, okay. I understand. This may be an emergency for some people. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I probably could have continued to sleep and worried about this tomorrow.
How fast will it fill a 5-gallon bucket? That would have been my question.
Yeah. So
10
there's just those
hours?
things.
10 seconds? I'm coming in at 10 seconds.
Yes, exactly. Please send me a picture
Oh, that's,
or a
yeah, actually,
video.
that's a video, please. Okay. All right. That sounds right. So Clint, at the end of the day, with everything that's on your plate and all the different emotions and pivots as you've mentioned, what are the things that just make you smile and make you want to keep coming back?
Well, I'll share my most recent experience. We have a new resident moved in, originally moved into assisted living. We ended up doing an emergency move to memory care. I know the daughter was feeling really, really guilty. And this resident has been such a highlight in our memory care. Every time I walk back to memory care, she comes running out to me with her arms open and just says, "I love you, I love you, I love you," and gives me a big hug.
Oh,
So I have learned right now, if I'm having a rough day, I just need to walk back to memory care and I need to go visit that resident because she's going to give me a big hug and I'm going to feel that much better. So there's a lot of those types of experiences where, again, everything that comes through, these residents are the reasons why most of our team come to work every single day,
mhm.
making a difference in their lives. And that's one recently that just really, really stands out because she is just so happy and so excited. And she says over and over again, "I'm in the right place."
Oh, that's so sweet. Okay, well, the next time I come visit, please let me know. Maybe she'll give me a hug too.
I think she will. I think she will.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to that. So, Clint, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom, and we just are so grateful for everything that you do for our communities and obviously for the industry. And if you're lucky enough to work for or live in one of Clint's communities, you are in very good hands. So, thank you again, Clint.
Thank you so much, Mandy.
All right. Until next time. Thanks, everyone.